The sound of thunder rolled over the city of Chicago, rattling the tall glass windows of the Halden Tech headquarters. Inside the sleek skyscraper, the night shift had begun. Quiet corridors, flickering lights, and the hum of distant machines. Ethan Ward, the janitor, mopped the marble floors with slow, practiced movements. He looked like any ordinary custodian: gray uniform, worn boots, and tired eyes that had seen too much of life's harshness. But behind those calm eyes was a man who had once worn a very different uniform, one marked with honor, scars, and service. No one at Halden Tech knew that Ethan had once been a combat medic in the U.S. Army. He didn't talk about it? Not anymore. These days, he just wanted peace and maybe, one quiet night without memories clawing back. At the top floor, Miranda Halden, the powerful CEO of the company, was wrapping up a late-night conference call. Known for her discipline and brilliance, Miranda had built her father's near-bankrupt tech firm into a billion-dollar empire. But her success came at a price: sleepless nights, a failing marriage, and a 6-year-old daughter who only saw her mother between meetings. That daughter, Lily, was the light of her world. Bright, curious, and brave, with big green eyes that could melt steel. Miranda often promised she'd spend more time with her, but the world of business rarely kept promises. Tonight, however, fate had other plans. It was nearing midnight when the storm outside began to roar. Ethan was about to finish his shift when the sound of small, hurried footsteps echoed through the lobby. He turned, surprised. "Hey, slow down, kid," he said gently. But before he could say more, a tiny figure ran straight into his legs, trembling, soaked from the rain, her pink jacket clinging to her shoulders. It was Lily Halden. Her face was streaked with tears and mud, and her little hands clutched his pant leg like her life depended on it. They hurt my mom," she cried. "Please. You have to help her. She's dying." Ethan froze. "What do you mean, sweetheart? Who hurt your mom?" Lily pointed toward the elevator, her voice breaking between sobs. "There were men in our house. I hid under the bed. They hit her, she's not moving. Please, mister, please help." Ethan's heart began to race. He knew fear. He'd seen it in the eyes of children in war zones, in the faces of men who didn't make it home. But this was different. He grabbed his radio and called security, but the static buzzed. The storm had knocked out part of the building's power. "Okay," he said softly, kneeling down. "You did the right thing coming here, Lily. You're safe now. Where's your house?" "On the hill. The big one with the gate," she sobbed. "Please hurry." Ethan didn't think twice. He scooped her into his arms, grabbed his coat, and sprinted into the storm. The drive through the rain was brutal, wind whipping across the windshield, wipers fighting to keep up. Lily cried quietly in the back seat, whispering, "Please don't let mommy die." Ethan clenched the steering wheel. He hadn't used his medic training in years, but tonight, that part of him woke up again. When they reached the Halden mansion, the front door was wide open, lights flickering inside. Ethan parked fast, told Lily to stay in the car, and rushed in. The living room was chaos: furniture overturned, glass shattered. And there, lying by the stairs, was Miranda Halden. Her face was bruised, blood pooling near her temple. She wasn't moving. Ethan's instincts kicked in. He checked her pulse, faint but there. He tore open his cleaning jacket, pulled out his old first aid kit, a habit he never abandoned, and got to work. "Come on, stay with me," he murmured, performing CPR, checking her breathing, stabilizing her head. His hands moved fast, precise, calm, the hands of someone who brought soldiers back from the edge of death. When she finally gasped for air, Ethan almost collapsed with relief. "Easy, easy," he said softly. "You're safe now, ma'am." Her eyes fluttered open. For a moment, confusion clouded her face, then shock. "You're the janitor," she whispered weakly. "Yeah," Ethan said. "The janitor who knows how to keep people alive." Minutes later, police sirens cut through the storm. Lily ran to her mother, crying as Miranda pulled her close. When detectives arrived, they found signs of a break-in, evidence of corporate espionage. One of Miranda's rival companies had sent men to steal confidential tech files from her home office. They didn't expect her to be there. Ethan gave his statement, then quietly stepped aside, ready to leave. He didn't do it for thanks, he did it because that's who he was. But as he turned to go, Miranda called out to him. "Ethan, wait." He stopped. "I don't even know how to thank you," she said. "You saved my life. You saved my daughter." He shook his head. "You don't need to thank me, ma'am. Just be there for her. That's what matters." Miranda's eyes softened. She saw it then, not the janitor, but the man behind the uniform. A man who carried pain, humility, and quiet strength. A few weeks later, Halden Tech was buzzing with whispers. The CEO had returned to work, her injuries healed, but something about her had changed. She smiled more. She took weekends off. She even visited the janitorial floor, something no executive ever did. One afternoon, she found Ethan cleaning a hallway. "Ethan," she said, "I've been thinking about what you told me about being there for Lily. I'm trying." He smiled. "That's all she needs, ma'am." "But I also realized something," she continued. "People like you, people who show up, quietly, when it matters, they're the backbone of this place. I want you to take this." She handed him an envelope. Inside was an offer letter, head of facilities and safety operations. Triple his current pay. Full benefits. Ethan blinked, speechless. "Ma'am, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," she said with a smile. "Because heroes don't always wear suits. Sometimes, they carry mops." Months passed. The mansion was rebuilt, the company recovered, and life slowly found peace again. But one day, at the annual company gala, something unexpected happened. As Miranda gave her keynote speech, she paused and looked at the crowd. "There's someone here tonight who taught me more about leadership than any board meeting ever did," she said. "A man who reminded me that compassion is stronger than competition. That real strength doesn't shout, it shows up." She turned toward Ethan. "Ethan Ward, would you join me?" The audience turned as Ethan, dressed in a clean suit for once, stood frozen. The applause was thunderous as he walked on stage. Miranda continued, her voice breaking slightly. "That night, when my little girl ran into the storm, it wasn't a CEO or a security team that saved us. It was a man the world overlooked, a janitor with the heart of a hero." Ethan smiled humbly, then leaned into the mic. "I didn't save anyone, ma'am. I just did what I hope someone would do for my family." The room fell silent, then rose in a standing ovation. Later that night, as the lights dimmed and the crowd dispersed, Miranda found Ethan outside, standing under the stars. "Beautiful night," he said. "Yeah," she replied. You know, I keep thinking about that night. What if you hadn't been there? Ethan looked down at the city skyline. Someone else would be helped. Miranda smiled softly. No, Ethan. It had to be you. He turned, puzzled. You see, she said, you didn't just save my life. You changed how I see people, how I lead, how I raise my daughter. That night didn't happen to me. It happened for me. Ethan didn't reply. He just nodded, the faintest smile on his lips. As he walked away into the cool night, Miranda whispered to herself, heroes don't need titles. They just need heart. Weeks later, a small story appeared in a local paper. Halden Tech announces new community safety program led by former janitor turned hero. The initiative helped train employees in first aid, self-defense, and crisis response inspired by Ethan's courage. And at the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Lily ran to Ethan, hugging his leg tight. Mom says you're my guardian angel, she whispered. Ethan knelt, smiling. No, sweetheart. Your mom's the angel. I just make sure she gets to fly.